that point, the Christian organization said, we don't agree with this person. So if you are going there, you are going there on your own. So we cannot blame pastors and churches in Nigeria because they said from the onset, we don't agree with this man's preaching or style. That's one. Two, you mentioned correctly that Chris Okotie did a disposition on this guy many years ago. And he said the reason why he was not in agreement with his preaching and style. It was made very clear. The videos are still out there. All right. Now, some of you have also spoken and condemned Nigerian journalists for not doing what they should have done. I want to let you know that I have a couple of friends who tried to do this man's story as far back as 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. Some of them disappeared till today. We don't even know them. Some are working like mad people in Lagos, in the streets of Lagos. I will not mention their name.
Hold on, KJ. Are you saying that the juju of Prophet TB Joshua didn't touch the white people who did this story now?
I'm coming. I'm not saying now. Please can you close the door for me? Thank you. I'm not saying. Sorry, my son was trying to distract me. Okay, I'm not saying the juju didn't touch them. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that those journalists who insisted on doing those stories, okay, were either chased out of the city or their lives were made miserable to the point that they could no longer practice journalism. People see them. No, there's a term that Tom used a while ago. They are now termed mad people. They are insane. What they are saying is not correct. And you know one thing, Rudolph, in the media industry, the more money you have, the more authority you can, more people can get to say your own part of the story because you seem to have the mic. So most of those people were outgunned or outpowered. And there's the story of the synagogue continuously to roll on. Okay. Now, so you cannot hold the Nigerian journalists. The Nigerian journalists a lot of them did a lot of work on that. If you remember those days of soft magazines in Lagos, if you go back and still pick some of them, you still see the stories of T. Joshua. And this person in question I'm talking about wrote for one of those soft magazines. And his story is still there. If you can trace one of those things, you will see it. You will see still the stories that he wrote concerning the synagogue, Church of All Nations. Now, you say I can call it because the organization I used to work for, we were put under pressure to do a story on him by himself. I'm not saying I'm talking to somebody else told me now. I'm talking about me because I was the person who was supposed to do that story. We deliberately and we refused to do the story. I'm telling the reason why you had this. He started his Emmanuel TV because when that thing went on, eventually said to start Emmanuel TV and tell his own story by himself. Okay.
So hold on. Are you saying he commissioned the organization to do this
No,
story?
now you are a journalist, for instance, and are doing a story of prominent journalists. So we can do your story voluntarily. We can say, okay, I want to do Okonkwo's story. So we'll do your story, we'll do Paul's story, we'll do Walle's story. Okay. And then KJ calls and say, oh, you have done this person's story, I've done this, so why not do my own story? And then we look at the criteria we are using to measure, and you don't fall within that criteria. And we say, no, we can't do your story. You say, okay, what will it cost for you to do my story? You say, no, we can't do your story. You say, okay, what do you want me to do so I can do my story? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because it's like what we're talking about now. The BBC seem to be a credible network, whether you like it or not. And so people seem to go along with the story, and because they have a big audience, the story has caught a lot of airwaves. Not because the first time somebody is coming out to talk about this ministry, but because this is the bigger platform, and so bigger people get to know about it. Now, I'm not one person who is in support of BBC because as somebody who works with an international organization, I know that some of the stories you are asked to do are not portraying Africa in the right way, actually. And a BBC had been found of doing that. Remember, it is the BBC reporter that gave the title, the Igbo coup. That stuck with till today, the Igbo coup, the five Igbo coup majors. So even with that alone, I know, like having practiced for a long time, I know that sometimes you do stories that you are driven to a point to write that story in such a way that it will look as if where you are talking coming from is all nothing working. All right, I don't want to waste more time. I don't know how much time he has given me. The daughter's story in question, I think Tony, you have it wrong. Okay, and I'm saying this because I follow that story. Now the little girl was, yes, just like you said, was discovered in a parking garage. Okay, when the church had finished, and he picked her up and accepted to, instead of sending the little girl to the motherless baby's home, he had said he was going to adopt her, and they gave that little girl to one of his relatives living behind the church. Okay, to train. Okay, that was the person who took care of her until she became, grown up, and eventually, look, she went to the same school with TB Joshua's biological children. We do not know for sure, and I don't want to say it. I know, we do not know for sure because people said the mother of the late girl eventually showed up some time later, and TB Joshua knows the woman, and the woman knows the TB Joshua. I don't want to say because that is now in the realm of procrastination or whatever. I don't want to say speculation that they know anything about it. I just want to believe the story that synagogue told, that they adopted her and she became it. But here is the catch I want you to understand. The girl didn't become stubborn because she had become a young girl at the age of 18 and all that. I started hearing from her friends who are members of the church some of the atrocities being done to them. This was the reason for her rebellion. So let's put things in proper context. This was the reason for it's just like me now. If I have a daughter and every time I seem to be molesting her friends, you think the daughter will respect me? The respect will be gone because once they go and say, "This look at what your father is doing to us," that's the end of the respect. Okay, so that aside, again, it is in the realm of speculations. So I will not let the lady tell her story because she's still alive. All right, now the woman you're talking about, the woman, the cross-eyed woman. I think if you've been following the story, you find out that even that other preacher in Benin, sorry, somewhere towards Ekoma, has responded to the woman, and you can see that his story is even very contradictory. This woman is telling her story with evidence. She's calling names of people who are living. You see, one of the things that makes us, if you're a producer for this thing, is that you balance your story. If you ask a story from me, and then when I tell my own side, you go to Chim and ask Chim, this thing that this guy said, you are part of it. Is it true? So you try to balance and give the other person the right to respond. BBC gave them right to respond. They refused to respond. They said it is witch hunt, it is a blackmail, it is that, is this. No, they are saying these are credible stories. We are going to the press. Are you ready to put in your own part of it? If they didn't give them a reason to respond, then you say, okay, these people just went to the press, they didn't ask us. But they waited for you. They gave you people tons of opportunity and time for you to respond. You didn't respond. Now, whatever TB Joshua is doing right, or whatever he had done, okay. Some people say, we shouldn't talk about him because he's dead. The evil that men do, live after them. The evil that men do. So if you don't want evil to live after you, you do the right thing. Okay. Am I condemning him? Look, I have always known I will never, and even yours talking here, I had a fight with my elder brother when he wanted to carry his children there because they said they needed to go. I said, come on, if you can even bring them, I will deliver them. I said, you don't need to take them to be Joshua. Okay. So what am I trying to say? A lot of people were sold into it. If you want to go back and know really, go back to the early days of TB Joshua when he started the ministry. There was one video, that time it was a VHS. There was one VHS, this thing that we watched, and he said the Holy Spirit used to flog people. And the Holy Spirit was lifting the people up and bouncing them on the ground and hitting them up and down in the church. And I said, which is of that Holy Spirit? Is it the Holy Spirit we know or the Holy Spirit that these people know? So these are some of the contradictions. Let's not be sentimental about it. Because being sentimental about it, you are trying to deny the probability that these things are true. And people who have suffered the consequence are living. They are telling their story. Are they being paid for it? Are they getting any money from it? Is somebody supporting them for it? Nobody. Just like what I'm saying now. Is anybody paying me for it? I know tons of journalists who careers ended because of TB Joshua's church. And you are saying this about Nigerian distance. Okay, sorry, I'm taking more time, but I didn't just